And so I think this force plate and what the implications of that are. Right now, we've just been all kind of guessing. And I think that there's this force plate data is going to allow us, as we continue to develop it, to make some better educated suggestions and thoughts. This is kind of what we said, is it's data collection first. You start to see the patterns. Then you get into this window, which we have been in as we've started to see more and more of this data of like, okay, we can start to see what's happening because of this. So we can see when a kid is doing that. We can take some really good educated guesses on the training path to get, the timing better and to get things. And then we can retest it and we can just keep seeing that pattern. And we're kind of in that phase right now, I think, with the force plate data and with stride and start. And so it's just, fun and exciting to see if we can use that information to leverage, getting from A to B faster for athletes, which is always our goal, is, helping them get better from that standpoint.
I hope in future iterations of rule changes that, again, this isn't a blame. I just go back to, we have the ability now to explore what a change of constraint to a rule change does, right? I think of how, slappers and stepping on the line and how those things change and shape what a pitcher does, what a hitter does. I think the
big one is jumping, right? So
being able to the back foot coming off the ground, playing in the shift, like all these things change the constraint for what that athlete has to do. And so I hope as we, as future iterations of rule changes happen, that this is a consideration, especially when it comes to something like the pitching motion, because, you can advocate for a change, but ultimately you've got to know then what the consequences are.
Right. Well, it's what we've said about slapping. It's like, was the intention that we got rid of slapping? Because asking a slapper to be in a crossover and not step on the line, like we've said this, I'm like, I'm fairly certain that's not possible, and definitely not on an outside pitch. So I just think now they're sort of changing. I think they're getting the ability to kind of go back. I think they proposed that. I'm not sure if it passed, but to go back to kind of not fully out of the box, but a little bit on the line or whatever. So that might change our game again, that we can. But I think those are the conversations of that. I mean, the lead off conversation that sort of was like an epic, interesting decision. But I think this for things like that, it's like what is let's say that the thing for slapping was we were allowing slappers to cover so much because they could step, so far on the line, they could do these things, and we didn't feel like that was what we wanted slappers to be able to do. But you have to look at the flip side. What does this change about the skill? Is it even possible to do that? And I think sometimes we miss that window. And I think in this world where we could go test it before we do it, I think just being thoughtful of, sometimes you don't need to do that. Like safety bag, I don't think we need to go test. We all know why we're doing that. But I think for some of it, when we're really, as you said, changing the constraint of some key skills in our game, I think being thoughtful around, what that is going to mean for athletes, especially when we adopt it then across the youth level too, and kind of what that means. I think that's really important.